Okay, today what we're going to do is we're going to create a chatbot on Dialogflow, I think, that is going to talk to the Meetup.com API, and we're going to create something where we can ask our assistant for running events around us. And the first thing that I will do, kind of version 1, I think, is just returning the first running event that it finds from Meetup, and then probably the second version of this, or an enhancement we'll make, is where you can specify a date. So you could say, like, please tell me what are the running events on Saturday. But to begin, let's just see if we can create an agent or an assistant action that will find us the next running event in Austin. And then I'm not sure if we'll be able to do this, but maybe we can do something where, like, we can then open up the Meetup app on the user's device, or on a link, so that they can send them a link so that they can RSVP for the event. So I'm going to be following along with this kind of side by side. I'm going to be following along with a code lab as we're doing things in Dialogflow. So the first thing we're probably going to want to do is go to Dialogflow, and I'm actually going to do a search for it because I don't remember. Okay, their URL actually is Dialogflow. Let's go to console, and let's go to setup. Let's see if there's anything here that we have to start with. Let's sign in. The first thing to do, if you haven't, some accounts, like corporate accounts, they have these permissions disabled: web and app activity, device information, voice and audio activity. We have them all enabled on our account, so we don't have to fix up those permissions. But if you don't have them, sometimes your system won't work. So then we need to create an actions project. So let's go to the actions console. There's quite a few things and areas that you have to go to right now to make an action in Dialogflow. Hopefully they'll clean those things up a little bit, but for now, no. So we're going to create something that's called, like, event finder. Why not? So I can take a couple minutes. So it says type in a project name, click create, build actions, add your first action. We're going to do a custom intent. So let's see if we can do that. So skip. I didn't see custom intent there. If we go back, can we still create an action? Maybe we'll just, what are we part of? We're part of, let's say, social and communication. So then we need to go build actions, add your first action. Let's see if there's anything in here. Built-in intents, get fortune, get horoscope. There's nothing really in there. I wonder if we went backwards, if we chose a different theme, if it would give us one for events. You know what? Let's just go on our own for now. So let's do add first action. We'll do custom intent. We'll do build. Now we'll go into the Dialogflow interface, and that'll pop up every time. You're going to see that a lot. So while that's saving, let's click next over here in our code lab. Let's see what we have to do here. So the first thing is we want to create a welcome intent. So let's modify our default welcome intent. We've got all these kind of like text responses that say hi, hello, good day. We're going to nuke those because we're going to put our own. And we're going to say welcome. Welcome. What events are you looking for today? And then we click save up here. And then it talks about testing it, so we can test that. I think I'll have to turn my music off because I don't think you guys are getting routed the sound. Let's see if I can get you guys the sound. Nope, still not getting you guys the sound. What if I use Jack? I'll figure that out, guys, later. So we've got this saved. This right-hand portal, I haven't found it to be that helpful for testing actions. For what I have found to be helpful is this, the simulator. Talk to my test app. So that's just the default way that you summon your agent, and it should say welcome. What event would you like to go to today, or something like that. What events are you looking for today? Okay. Let's change that. What kind of events can I help you find? That's a little bit more. That way it doesn't limit it today, and it speaks of assistance. So then it wants us to do settings, default welcome intent, test it out. Okay, so we've already done that. So now we need to train our agent. So this example wants us to train to pick the color out of various phrases. We're going to actually have to do, I think, something a little bit more difficult, which is a custom entity. So let's create an event. At least one value is required. So let's say like running, cycling, swimming. No, it's not just for triathlon. Let's say hiking, walking, and let's actually call this activity. So we've saved that. This will be my first time to actually making a custom entity. No, I take, yeah, because I think product is a system entity. So, and I've made one for e-commerce and product. So then we need to go and we need to create an intent in addition to our default intent. So they did want us to add a follow-up intent. To create the Dialogflow intent, on the left click intents and click create intent. And we're going to call it activity. I would like running events. And you can see it already picked out the activity that we defined earlier. So let's see, and it picked out cycling. Do you? So jogging it didn't pick out. people normally don't describe things like that, but let's. Can we go hiking? Okay, what else could we do? We could go climbing. Let's see what the top activities on Meetup are. That way we can kind of seed our tacos, eat food, dancing. So let's save this. Sometimes the UI freaks out a little bit, so that's why I saved it, so I could get back into typing in this box. So it's not wanting me to, I guess, because the gear's spinning. So let's keep looking up. Great. So running. Do we have running in here? Yeah, we do. What about... We didn't have dancing, though. What else is there? Bowling. It's freaking out again. Here we go. I would like to go bowling. I would... So we're still having to hand train these. Hopefully we'll figure out what an activity is shortly. There is a retrain your agent, so you can see agent training started. So when you add these new phrases, it'll go off and train your agent. So let's save this and let's see if we can test this. So there's multiple, so we're just doing the draft. So let's see, what can we talk to my test app? I really wish I could get you guys to hear the sound on my computer. One sec. I'm just looking to see if I can get you guys some sound. Nope. We'll try one more thing. This might work. No, it didn't. Okay guys, sorry, I'm just seeing if I can get you guys to hear the bot. It's still not working for you guys. I have to troubleshoot this later. Sorry guys. Hello? Okay. Screw it. Okay. So we're doing okay. So it's still wondering what the next intent is, so we could probably say running right now, and that would call our intent. Somehow a mosquito got in here, he's biting the crap out of me. So if we go into Dialogflow, we've saved this. It says malformed response, final response must be set. So if we go over here, we can at least see, and I might have needed to do history, that we got running as a response. Now it didn't mark it here as being labeled as something that we were looking for. So maybe we can redeploy the test version. So we redeployed it based on our last results, or our last changes. And it should say getting your test app. What kind of events can I help you find? So it read it out loud to me. You can't hear it, but you can see it being written here. And we said running. And it will bomb out again because we haven't set how to respond with that. But we can see that the arguments we got were name, text, raw value, running. We can't see anything here of it being actually associated with an activity, which is kind of curious. So if we do click into our history, we can see that the second time the word running was associated with an activity. So let's see if prior to deploying, we can't really see it on the first one, but prior to deploying our new agent. But that's okay. Okay, so now what we need to do is when we get that activity running, we need to know how to respond to it. So let's go back to our code lab, because our code lab gave us some, and a mosquito has now bitten me 2 or 3 times all over my body. That's okay. So we need to make this intent required, or this parameter required, because without a parameter of like for an activity, then we won't be able to help the user out. So let's make it required, let's save. And then we need to go to fulfillment. So now we need to configure the fulfillment part, which is what we do when we get an activity. So you can add another prompt, as you can see here. So if the user responds and we don't get an activity, you can say, you can define a prompt that says, like, just very bluntly, like, what would you like to do, or what activity are you looking for? That's kind of a prompt to make sure you get that prior to the next step. So let's go over to enable fulfillment. They said that is under the fulfillment section. So let's see if that's true. I think that they might have combined it, and we're going to use the inline editor for now. You can actually check out this entire agent in a source repository and modify it, and then upload it and deploy it using a Google tool, command line tool. One thing that you need to be aware of is that when you use, we're going to have to talk to the Meetup API, and when we do that, we're actually going to have to enable billing on our project, because we're going to be making external calls. But for now, we don't need to do that. You can see that we're taking this favorite color intent, and our intent has a different name. I think our intent is activity. So we're going to need to update this. And we're going to make this activity as well. And let's just see if we can get this to work where where when we give it an activity, it's going to tell us our lucky number is the length of whatever the activity we sent it. So this is just kind of testing as we go along, which is something that's good to do. You don't want to get really far down the line and then realize, something's broken because it's something small along the beginning of your route, of your journey. So we're going to test as we go. Sit back, grab yourself some coffee or something. Just hang out. Okay. So hopefully that's done being deployed. Hopefully there's nothing incriminating in my history. That would be nice. And hopefully I can kill this mosquito that's flying around biting me. I guess if I'm lucky I'll be able to. If not, he'll just sit there and attack me forever. So I think it should be deployed now. So we'll go and deploy it. We'll go and check out what's going on. Okay. Okay, so it should be deployed now. It says it failed. We have an issue on line 63. And I think that's solely because we didn't comment out enough of this app. So let's do that. Hopefully this deploy will be a little bit faster. Let's wait for it to finish. Okay, so it successfully deployed your cloud function for your webhook. Okay, so now if we go back to our simulator, I think we're going to have to re-select basically the latest version of the draft. So let's do that. There's a lot of stuff going on here. It's not too much though. We can deal with it. And then let's go talk to my test app. It takes a while to respond, but it responded. And we'll say running. We'll just give it an easy. It should say your lucky number is, and then however many letters running is. So it should say 9. It's taking its time. Okay. So something failed to parse response into app response because of empty speech response. Okay. So that's a lot of nonsense. So we've got this. Let's make sure our intent is called activity. It is called activity. So this is good. You can debug. There's a debug console here. We can get into logging. So let's find out where our logs are. I'm blanking. I used to know exactly where my logs were. Nope, we're not doing that. Yeah, they are. There's a link right there. What a doofus. Okay, so let's see what our logs say. This looks all good. Use strict. So why did this fail? Function load error. Code and file index.js cannot be loaded. Is there a syntax out? Unexpected token at 9710 at module load. Module require at internal modules. Get user function, service name, event finder, Dialogflow, Firebase. So I'm wondering if this Dialogflow Firebase fulfillment is not correct or if that's okay. That looks okay. So if all else fails, what we'll do is we'll just do another copy paste since we had an initial issue on the copy paste. Then what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make some changes here. So our app intent is activity, and I'm wondering if this color needs to be actually activity.activity since we're not using a system parameter, we're using a parameter for activity. Let's just try to deploy it one more time, and while we're deploying that, let's check out our entities. Let's go over here. Let's open this up in another window. So our entity is activity. I'm just curious if we need to do activity.activity or if we can just use activity. Also, while it's loading, let's check out what the instructions say. Did our log show anything new on our deployment? While we're waiting for the logs update, let's go back to our simulator. Logs are still updating. So that is from a while ago. Let's try it again. Let's just try it again. Let's actually redeploy this version for the draft. Parameter name. So this parameter name needs to match the color for our intent here, or the parameter for our intent that we're getting out of it. So we've got an app intent. Does that match? What do we call the parameter in our intent? Let's check. We call it big A activity. Does that matter in JavaScript land? I'm not sure. I think it does. So let's try this now. Let's see if we've got a different issue with our logs. We didn't even get a log object for that. Final response must be set. So what happened there? Failed to parse Dialogflow response into app response because of empty speech response. Let's see what the request that was sent was. This is what was sent. I wish it would have put like I wish we could have seen it associated with an actual entity. So let's try over here. Let's see if it actually got identified as a activity. So it did. Intent activity, user set, so it matched that intent. No intent invoked. So why? So the welcome gets no intent invoked, and then when a user says running, we invoke the activity intent. Okay. Hopefully we got it with the actual so let's deploy a new version. Since we deployed a new version of our fulfillment, let's go back to our fulfillment tag, our fulfillment code. So I think this parameter is important. The naming. I think we had lowercase activity and it needed to be uppercase. So let's try this one more time before we start talking to the Meetup API. Running. Come on, lucky number. It would have worked already, I think. So it's going to bomb out again. I wish we could tell. Why is it blowing up? So we're not even getting, I don't even think we're getting that far now. So Mommy, I'm scared. So let's check our intent and make sure that looks right. Our intent is activity. Here's our parameter name, the value, the entity. Do we need to put a response in here? Let's see if that's something that we missed. Oh, I missed this the first time, so we need to make sure we go down here and for the intent we allow fulfillment. So now I think we're going to see what our lucky number is. So let's deploy this. Let's deploy the draft version again. Let's talk to our test app. Okay. You don't have to wait for it to finish. You can just type running. And it should tell us our lucky number this time. Come on, baby. Yes. That doesn't look right, but it is right. 7 is a lucky number, and running has 7 characters, even though it kind of looks like it has 8. So now we need to talk to the Meetup API. So goodness gracious, that's going to be intense. No, it'll be okay. So let's do plus yeehaw. So let's see if that works. It's deploying. Well, it's man, mosquito. So let's ask for an API key. I guess we get one API key. Meetup application directory. I wonder if there already is a Google Assistant. Look at all these cool Meetup apps that I didn't even know about. So let's go back. We're not curious about that right now. OAuth. Maybe if we do it. Quit. Click the same thing again. Client libraries. That's not going to be us. So we get one API key. And I don't really want to show you guys my API key. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out. And I'm going to log in as maybe this. Maybe try to get another API key that's not my official account. Okay. Nope, quit. So what we want to do is we want to do a search for events. And we're going to do this kind of just dirty the first time, and then we can work on making it clean as we get as we make the app more sophisticated. So kind of our first thing we can do is we can actually ask the user for context, and if they give us permission we can get their location, and then we can make this so it's kind of like works for anyone anywhere, but we're going to hard code it for Austin the first time we use it. So what we really need to do is we need to find events. So find upcoming events is an API, and then we're going to do a test. So we're going to search for running, and we're going to just put here. See, it takes lat long and all that. Well, I really want to give it a zip code, but let's find the lat long for our zip code, since we're going to hard code it the first time. And then what we can do is we can so this is okay. Okay, I really don't want to download the database, I just want to do a search. Okay, so here we go, and then what we're going to do, you know what, I think because this is tied to my account, it's already going to look for stuff near me, but so let's just see. Yeah, it will. So it'll automatically give me events that are around me. So the first thing it found was an indoor sprint group workout, which is probably a paid event. That's okay. Yeah, so it's a paid event. I would like to kind of keep it down to free events. Is there a way we can search for the price here? I think we could do it here in the fields. Let's check the docs. That long order page, text. Let's see if there's any keys in here we can throw in there. Fee options. Group. Free. Search cost. Price. So we might just have to then say like fee equals null, because I don't. Let's see if there's any way we can see events without fee. So we might have to say fee equals null. But for our first go, we're just not going to worry about that. It's unfortunate that our first one is like a paid event, but that's okay. Hopefully our second one isn't too. Basically, wow, our next 10 are all these. That's okay. We'll support them for the time being. So now what we should be able to do is we should be able to copy this link, and the next part is going to be parsing JSON. So we're going to need to say like the next running event is indoor sprint group workout, and that is on. And we'll put like, 6:26, which is tomorrow at 7. That's definitely not the next running event. I wonder if we can sort these. There's got to be order. Okay, so order we should do by like, descending based on time. So let's see if we can do that. Fields, order, the sort order, best order events by recommendation score, while time order events while time orders events by the event start time in increasing order. So we're just going to have to do time here, because we're more concerned about things that are in the future or near us. So let's try this now. Okay. Let's see what comes up next now. So weekly run club, and that's at Austin Java. And that's actually 6:25, which is today at 5:45. So that's just coming up right now. So that's a beer run club, I think. But they call it. So this is different than the beer run club. This is the weekly run club. But anyways, the intent of this app that we're making would be like, you would ask it for the running event, and it would then tell you this is the next one. And then we could add up follow responses like, would you like me to get you directions, or an estimated travel time, or RSVP. I don't think we could RSVP on the user's behalf right now. I think Meetup supports OAuth, so we could probably integrate it, but we're not going to do that for the first version. We're just going to search for events first. So we've got our URL here. Let's see if it doesn't get upset if we doctor it. I think this might be a signed URL, so if we throw in swimming, it'll blow up. Yeah. So it's a signed URL. I wonder if we can remove the sig. Nope. So now we need to figure out how to sign a URL, what the signature is, how to sign it. You know what? For our first thing, we'll just use this hard-coded signed URL, and then we'll worry about that later. So let's go over to our, we're going to have to figure out how to make a call in Dialogflow. So we've basically done this first part, which is like give the length of a color. Let's give it another try, talk to my test app. And let's think of something. So it didn't recognize snorkeling, even though it's an activity. So let's go over here to our history. Actually, I should have gone to training. Let's go to our training. And snorkeling, click to assign activity. And we need to label that as an activity and approve, and it'll say agent training started. So now next time we say snorkeling, it should actually register that. Let's see. Okay, so now it should say like your lucky number is 12 or something. I don't know how many letters are in snorkeling. Let's see. And things have not gone well. Let's go back to training. What's going on here? It's labeling it, so why is it asking what is the activity? You know what? Snorkeling, come on, baby. Let's go. Alright, things are not going well here. Or let's just say as expected. But that's okay. So I wonder if this, let's go to the next code lab, and it'll show us how to, deep linking. So we're not going to do deep linking today, but I do like the idea of it. And then we could do follow-up intents. Right now we need to work on making an API call. So we're going to look at an example. We're going to search Stack Overflow for how to make an API call in Dialogflow. So let's do Dialogflow. And let's do API. Training dialog. Oh, that's training it. You know what? Let's do HTTP request. Okay. So we're not going to use curl. Let's see what this person did. Action handlers. Let's see if there's anything good. So let's look at what our current fulfillment code is. So basically inside this, we want to make an API request. So I'm going to look at a previous project. Excuse me. Is it under here? Let's go to Dialogflow then. And we'll do that, and we want to actually switch over here to this because we want to grab some code from over here. Let's go over to fulfillment. Should we use promises? Why not? This is some serious code in here, dude. Okay, let's try promises. So let's see here. Let's do some pseudocode. So we're going to call Meetup API. If successful, parse response and grab name of first running event. If failure, say please try again. We're going to do it in a little bit. Here's some sample code for how to do a promise. We'll do an HTTP GET. We got to do host, path, and then basically response on data. So we call resolve response because something's actually calling. We got to get a little bit more code than this to recreate this. So call card items. So handle card items. What calls handle card items? We got it. Promise chains out the yin yangs. Excuse me. HTTPS on request. Functions HTTPS on request. Where did that come from? Ah, it's a Firebase thing. So we go to the Firebase docs. Call VA. Okay. Cloud functions up in here. The question though is, yeah. It'll still work async because it's waiting for the response to be built. Okay, so we can do that. So this call card items, which we call in here. Then we get the output, which is this JSON body. We basically grab the quantity and we create a string response basically that's the card items. So this is the function that we need, and then to get access to that function we're going to need HTTPS, which, because I think we're accessing through this namespace, we don't actually need to do this require HTTPS, but we can try it. You know what, guys? It's we've been doing this for about an hour now. I'm going to take a break and then we can finish up maybe a little bit later the second version.